And welcome to a far warmer and cozier morning in camp. I had like a visceral reaction when I put on this torrid last night. I'm used to sleeping in these things, and I was just like, sleeping bag is maybe a little too warm, but I did not have to worry about being cold last night. Since I've been spending so many nights in my sleeping bags during the through hiking period here, we've started sending them in to be cleaned at the end of each season, and they always come back with just a massive amount of poofiness. This won't last. Eventually the oils and such will have it a little more tapped down. This camp was awesome. Reminded me of some of the more remote, quieter spots of the CDT. I'm up here below, I think like Radical Hill is right up there, just tucked away, far from the road. Only downside of this camp, I am on the wrong side of the canyon for morning sunlight. So as a general rule, I don't get sponsored gear. I mean, I'm that size YouTube channel. This Torrid jacket, though, from Enlightened Equipment, I have bought 2 of them with my own money. I had the old zip-up version, and then when they got this 3/4 zip, I swapped to this. And it is one of the rare pieces of gear where I can't find a better, piece in class. I've had like the Ghost Whisper and some of the more expensive ones, and this one is just so warm and so affordable for what it is. Worst part is the wait list is horrendous now. I even got Gen 1 and she runs around in it. It was hard for me to leave this behind starting out on this, except, I knew that I was going to be going through Kansas and all that heat. It took me a while running around out here to find something where I was mostly on dirt and felt good about setting up my tent. I was really hoping I could jigsaw my pack together a little more compactly, after eating down a little bit. And it always seems like it fits better after you have a day or a night in camp and you're repacking. I think my problem is I need my stuff sack for this green bag and I don't have it. And I have it compressed inside of a trash bag, but it's harder to get all the air out of it. So if everything goes to plan, I will be spending most of the day up there around 12, 13K. Right now I'm cutting back across. There is a road that goes up to the top there. I came off of it last night because I was looking for a spot with some durable ground that was flat, that was protected. And as usual, it got pretty windy right around the time the sun had gone down. I had to adjust the flap stakes on my tent. So if I'd gone up, I would have expected that to be significantly worse. This grass is clumps with loose dirt. So I'm trying to be really careful picking my way across. Because, calf sprains that take weeks off trail to heal are so 2023. Supposedly, per the forecast, it was incrementally warmer last night. There is frost on the grass in places. I didn't have my water bottles ice up either night. Honestly, I barely noticed because I was so damn warm in that sleeping bag, which is right where I want to be. Moose! Got so excited I almost fumbled my phone. Oh, big guy. Oh, they are so cool, unless you were staring them down from about 10 feet away, in which case they are massive. Oh, moose is 2 males with racks. Okay, this camp was officially worth it. I could hear some clomping around my camp this morning, but it's hard to tell. There were deer up there last night who seemed annoyed that I was taking up their sleep spot. So this is Deer Canyon. The actual route went up the canyon off to my left. So I traded a little bit of ridge I'd already seen on the CDT for the whole canyon above Montezuma that I hadn't seen. And at the moment, considering the camp and the morning mooses, that's feeling like a good trade. These roads are drivable all the way up onto the ridge. There are areas up there that are no motorized travel, but good swaths of them. You're picking your way up these Jeep ATV trails. I slept somewhere around 11,700, maybe a little higher by the time I set up my camp. And like I said, some of the ridgeline today will be back above 13. My moose friends eyeing me, but there's another one which went down out of view. So all I need is today's weather to be close to yesterday, not like the day before. Because if the weather's bad, I'll have burned today, and I'll still have to take that maple alternate. It basically drops you off the ridge going out to George's Point, because it gets rough up there when there's any sort of weather. I am almost needing my long johns this morning. But there are a good number of sections out here on the CDT if you're doing the actual 3,000 mile red line, where you are just up dodging storms. Sometimes that means waking up early. Sometimes that means holding until later. And a lot of times it means watching the sky and making your best educated guess and then making good decisions as stuff happens. See that bailout last year in this area. It is part of the fun, but mountains do not care about your schedule. Okay, 12-2. Welcome back to the official CDT ADT. As you can see, camping up here is kind of sparse. If I had a bivvy with me, I can crawl up behind grass like that, and I could just sleep out, but then if the weather comes up, all of a sudden I've got a wet down sleeping bag. So normally if I have to do that, I will just burrito myself inside of my tent and just not have the poles up. See, I get all excited geeking out about gear, and then I want to start doing videos about gear, and anytime I do, I hate editing those, and they're always too slow for my own preference, and they never do that good. YouTube seems to recommend people that like daily hiking videos on my channel, not any of the other things. Seems like the conventional wisdom thing is to have multiple channels. See how Ryan George has like pitch meetings and extras. So, First Church of Damascus dives versus hikes. Problem with that is just management. Having to answer comments, and I love answering comments across multiple accounts, is an extra pain. And I'm only doing this as a hobby anyway. Try not to take myself too seriously, hence the hat. I have some hopes of running into CDT or two out here. Oh, real mountains. Oh, I do love being up at altitude. I love being in the desert and trees and forests and rivers and oceans and everything, but some part of me just always sings at being up above tree line. Good thing Jen's not here. I have a feeling she'd be screaming, "Suck it, Kansas." And beyond the views, this is what I get for sacrificing to do the high country. I had a friend and a former student named Bill. Lots of heart, lots of desire to climb mountains. Not the best fitness. Years ago, did a trip and worked hard, and he worked hard, and we got him up above 12,000 feet in the Sierra. Asked him what he thought as he's, gasping up there. And he said it sucked. It's like walking on the surface of the effing moon. But that the views were spectacular. And up there, we're usually boulder hopping, so it takes a lot out of you. Bill was actually one of those people who passed away way earlier than he should have. It kind of made me go full bore into this screw it lifestyle Jen and I have now. That combined with the multiple employers who did badly by me. I was joking with my mother when I was staying with them that, I may be making a fraction of what I did when I was in IT. But on the plus side, if you're charting how much retirement money I've been embezzled out of, I'm doing way better now. So there is that. So this is that point, Middle Fork or Maple Road or whatever it's called, last year on the CDT where the universe was telling me something. Because I was sitting up here wanting to continue over this ridge, and the weather was building up and getting worse and getting worse. Went a little way up, went, no, okay, came down, dropped down, got a couple hundred feet, weather started to clear, stopped, going, okay, can I come back up? Got worse, and I finally had to say screw it and went down. Basically, the CDT does a big fling out on this ridge to grab the start of the Colorado Trail at what I believe is called George's Point, and then drops down and meets this canyon. And I did tell myself last year, well, at least when I come back for the American Discovery Trail, if I make it this far, I can do the ridge I'm missing out on. Might have partially been why I was so stubborn last night, because I could have gotten, a fair amount of progress if I just cut up and over this, and there's camping down this canyon. Hoorah for stubbornness. I wouldn't have had near the experience on the Continental Divide Trail if it wasn't for that. The most iconic sections of that were the ones that it's a lot easier to skip. The ones that were most iconic to me. So, Black Hills, Southern San Juans, things like that. And there is my water source. I'm still running off coffee this morning, so these snowfields are protected, so they'll last basically till the end of the season. And look at this. That water is also ice bloody cold, so my usual plan of drinking like a liter and a half is a little harder up here. That's okay. I want a little extra weight to carry over these bumps so I'd feel less wimpy. And here's what passes for a campsite up here. Okay, now we're having fun. Somebody's up here with me because I'm seeing fresh footprints. Oh man. Now we're talking. I was hoping I'd figure out who was out here ahead of me, but first sign in the register, and I'm pretty sure those tracks are fresher than 3 days. That is high and Edwards is He's out here doing a loop. I love talking to people who are blown away and excited when they see what I'm doing, not because it's like, oh hey, look at me, just because that was me at one point, getting blown away and getting inspired to want to do the PCT. And never know what you're inspiring, folks. Also, I don't know what that peak is in the background, and I know I'm not going that far. I hit the Colorado Trail and drop first, but oh, that makes me want to go climb something. It's like Mount Tom in Bishop, California. It looks like a damn mountain. Oh, if ever days like this out here, never get me off the freaking high roads. Okay, that was fun, and I'm glad I got to do it after getting screwed by the weather on the CDT. It worked out. Okay, here's that triple sign I was looking for. 12:50, I have officially joined the Colorado Trail which means far out is now full of CDTers complaining about the nicer tread, but being sick of being dive bombed by mountain bikers. I do not know how many miles it would have been if I went straight from that canyon down in Denver to here instead of taking the crazy ADT route, but I think that would have been a lot more straightforward. So that high up section basically couldn't have gone any better today. Really happy I was able to do that, even if it did kind of make a mush out of yesterday. Once I get down to the bottom of this canyon, it is familiar tread basically until I get past Twin Lake. I don't really remember any other sections standing out as much as this section because, you know, Grays and Edwards and this thing I've been going through is, it's a pretty big stumbling block on the CDT, especially with weather happening. So I am going to take another day or two to get into Breckenridge. I am, as of right now, not going into Breckenridge, just going to cross the road. I know there is a power plug there I might use, and then climb back up and over to Copper. And Copper Mountain will be where I'm going to try and charge my batteries, resupply, and see if I can't push from there straight down to Twin. Because while Leadville is an option along the way, that is one of those towns where if I never go back there, I will be okay with that. Okay, I have officially fist bumped with a Colorado Trail hiker at least. It was actually the second, but the first guy we just kind of like nodded at each other going by. Funny thing, he had actually done the CDT last year, and he was one of those few people that went through the Black Hills instead of doing the Gila shortcut. Per him, he said that there was about 80 miles left on the Colorado Trail, so I didn't do too ridiculous. You know, I did the last 10 miles before I dropped down into Denver. And welcome back to the social butterfly delay. I've been sitting here filtering water and drinking since I was dry up top and just wasted way too much time chatting with 3 mountain bikers. And nav is gonna get easy for a while. So I'm about 15 miles out of Frisco, which is the access to Breckenridge, and about 86 from Twin Lakes, it looks like. It is also really nice to have far out available again. I can actually look at elevation profiles and whatnot. And I've got safe water to drink again. Oh, this is gonna spoil me. So this is that road if I had to take that low route again. So I'm back on my footpath from last year. I feel like I have spent way too many miles running around the mountains of Colorado for how bad it has gone for me the last couple of years. So if I can make another 10 miles today, which we'll see, this is going pretty good. And then if I can not be a wimp tomorrow, I should be able to make it into Copper Mountain by the end of the day. And if I can get a hotel there, I can get my resupply and my charging and my uploading done without having to sit around. Because otherwise I'm going to need to probably park next to a plug for a little while. I used to do that a lot more. See me on like the PCT or the AT. These days I carry enough batteries and I'm used to what I need. I've just been doing the periodic hotel stays and getting it all done there. Assuming it's relatively affordable, I would rather burn a little money and get everything done at night and be able to hike both days rather than just waste time sitting around town. Oh, these social butterfly delays are going to kill me on this. Came around the corner, those guys were at a water source. Said the usual greeting, and one of the guys had actually been following our videos for years. Carl knew that I was hiking across, but they didn't know where I overlapped the trail, so seems like I made his day, which is always such a positive. They had talked to some other thru hikers in the area, and apparently I wasn't the only one freezing my butt off the other night. Carl was nice enough to shoo me away before I talked till the sun went down. So there was basically this big hill, which is a little wimpy, like 1,000, 1,200 foot climb. And it's generally going to be downhill to Breckenridge. I have a evening water source I am eyeing, and I am perfectly happy to keep walking, at least for the moment. After the high country, this feels so much more mellow. "5:30 and I got thunder coming from the high country, so good timing for me for once. It just got chilly here all of a sudden. I turned on my phone long enough to check weather, and apparently the low is 37, so I am very glad that I have my warm weather gear. Okay, once I find water, I'm going to start getting in the market for a camp. Okay, there were some folks up there. When I mentioned I was basically hiking to water, they were like, "Oh yeah, a couple of miles, so I'm guessing I have to go to that bridge." If it's the spot that I remember, that means I'm going to be hiking in the dark because you got to drop down and then go up a hill, but we shall see. This is one of the rare, drier spots out here. 8 o'clock. I would very much like to be set up in camp right now, but I'm making for a water source in a little under a mile. Okay, flowing water. Trying to fill up before I get too chilled, and then I remember this so I know where to camp. Hopefully there's nobody there. So funny how this works out, but this is the exact same spot I camped last year. Unlike last year, I'm not completely alone. There's somebody who's back a ways. I can see their lights off and on. But this will work. Home sweet home.